Today, what we're going to be talking about is what it takes to be a full-time music producer. Now, it's not just making music and releasing it. There's a whole bunch of other skills that you need to be aware of in order to be a full-time music producer. So we're going to talk about that right now. Yo, it's Thomas Anthony from FinishBetterMusic.com, where we believe great producers aren't born, they are trained. Now, every week on this channel, I upload a new video talking about my journey throughout the music industry, or either a remake of a popular song, or breaking down a project that I have worked on and made. So if that's something you're interested in, consider subscribing. All right, what I want to talk to you about today is what it takes to be a full-time music producer. Now, obviously, there are different routes you can go as a music producer, but from my experience, there's a lot that people don't talk about that go into becoming a full-time music producer. Like when I first started, I thought, okay, all I gotta do is learn a skill of making music and then learn how to market it and then put my music out there. And then hopefully one day I'll get booked at shows and begin touring and make money and live up the dream life. And that is one avenue, but the weird and thing, not weird, but the thing that no one ever talks about is that most people in their careers, unless they're the super duper stars like Tiesto, Martin Garrix, people like that, usually have peaks and valleys and ups and downs. And even Martin Garrix and Tiesto at the beginning, there was peaks and valleys, and then slowly they start going in an upward trajectory. But for most producers, they don't think about that because maybe you have a popular song and maybe it blasts off and you go on tour, like maybe for a summer or something like that, when tours were happening. But maybe you have a peak song that pops off. And then when that dies down, maybe your next song isn't as popular and maybe you aren't getting booked for as many gigs, then you have to have some sort of backup plan to keep you sustained throughout that time. And most producers don't think about that. They're like, oh yeah, I made a sweet song, I made it, I'm gonna go touring. And then they usually don't spend the money, or they don't save the money that they spent or that they made on the tour. And that when that runs out, then they have to go back to like a regular job. And I honestly did that. I learned the hard way that I'm like, okay, you definitely need multiple streams of income. And that's the next thing I want to talk to you about are what kind of streams of income can you have as a music producer? Now, obviously, the first skill that you need to have is be able to write a song. So you want to make a badass song. And from there, you need to know how to mix it so it sounds like clear and balanced. And then you want to have it be able to master it. You can obviously send that away to be mastered, but it's good to learn all those skills yourself if you're going to be a full-time music producer. So those are the basic things that you need to know how to do. From there, you need to know how to market your music effectively. So that means writing the correct posts, not just, here's my new single, check it out, because no one gives a shit about that stuff. You have to know how to talk to labels, talk to YouTube channels, talk to Spotify playlists, know how to copyright and form email that will, first of all, they'll open up and then they'll maybe consider your track and then they'll look at it and then maybe put it on their playlist. There's all that goes into it. And then also contacting promoters, because you're living in a dream world if you're just going to keep making music and hoping that like an agent will come and get you and then they will magically start booking you for gigs and getting you on labels. You got to do everything yourself. And I wish it wasn't like that, and maybe it's not like that for some people, but for the vast majority, you're going to have to learn to do everything yourself. Now, once you have those basic level skills down, you got to start thinking more creatively on how to promote yourself, because I was doing that, but it just wasn't gaining enough momentum. I was putting out music, I was trying to do bootlegs, and just trying to get everything down on the music front. And that's when I decided to start making YouTube videos or tutorials so that I could gain some reach in my old PEEP and Tom channel. I used to just do tutorials on how to make Melbourne bounce, just so I could link it to a light gate where I could just get people to either download my music or follow me on social media so I could grow the presence there. And what no one told me when I was starting off to be a music producer is that you need to know start learning a whole whack of skills. So obviously there's the stuff we talked about, like mixing, mastering, creation, promotion of your own music, so marketing. And then there's also the more creative side of marketing. So that's like recording videos, editing videos, learning how to storytell in an interesting way that people are always engaged with your content, thinking of new strategies like that. There's just so much stuff that goes into it, especially the public speaking aspect of it, to speak clear and coherent sentences, kind of like what I'm doing right now. And I'm not even that great, and it took me a long time to learn this. Buying camera gear, saving up for camera gear, along with all the studio stuff, it is a lot of investment, especially if you're only using royalties and making music and putting it out in royalties for income, because there's just not that much in there. That's one part of the royalties or the income that I bring in, but it definitely isn't paying the bills, that's for sure. Now, there are other streams of income that, again, I highly encourage, if you're going to be a music producer, you explore all of those avenues, because if one of those lakes or avenues dry up, then you'll have the other ones there to keep you sustained. So, for example, like if the touring one dries up, you can have other ones. Now, the ones I focus on are mixing, mastering, creating my own music, and I'm putting it out and getting royalties for it. Ghostwriting. I also teach, like, the mentoring program, FinishBetterMusic.com. So, like, we have our one-on-one mentoring program. If that's something you're interested in, check it out. There's a link in the description to all that kind of good stuff. And the sample packs is another one. Making patches is another stream of income. Then playing shows and touring. Like, obviously that was a huge big hit to the industry when COVID happened and there's no more gigs and they all dried up. Like, luckily I was still able to maintain a career doing the thing I love to do. But no one told me this when I first got started. Like, I had no idea that you needed all of these skills. What are some other ones? Then you need to know how to, like I said, video edit, how to create a song, how to market social media, copywriting. So that's like writing things in emails. Sometimes like course creation, which is something that's trial and error and learning. Yeah, ghostwriting, mixing, mastering. I have a bunch of stuff written down. What else do I got here? Yeah, video editing, marketing. You got to know how to pay your taxes. That's a huge thing no one talks about. You got to detail everything that you got going down so you can write your stuff off. And again, if you're just using money from touring or running for royalties and you expect to live on that, good luck. Like, it is ridiculous. It's almost impossible. Especially if you're like getting signed to a label. They only give you like 30 to 50% of your portion of it, which is just a fraction of that. So you have to be having tens of thousands of millions of plays to be even getting like anything substantial. And then that's spread out throughout the whole year. So you only one song that gets 1 million plays, for example, you make about $3,000 for 1 million plays. So you have one song doing that, and then you have to split that with a royalty and maybe a singer, maybe a collab, and then you only have that for the whole year, and the rest of your songs do okay. It's not going to work. Like, it's going to be really, really difficult. Now, another thing no one told me, and that I didn't know about the music industry, was that it takes a long ass time for this to happen. It took me, I've been working on music since, I think 2006 or 2007. It's almost 15 years. And I mean, I was doing a dabbling in the first bit like most people, but to actually really, really get something solid, I've only been making full-time career of this in the last 2.5, 3 years. And it took a long time to do that. And I highly encourage everybody not to quit your day job to pursue music full time. It is a really, really, really difficult industry to break into, and it's good to make some side money on the side money some money on the side. But if you're trying to just make it your full time thing, good luck. It is not easy, and it will take a while. I went to school, I got a university degree, I did my job for several years, and I worked on this every night. I was working on music and I was just trying to build a business with it. And then finally, after so many years, it's working out for me. Now, what is awesome is that I friggin' love my job. I love this job. I'm in the studio all the time. I get to work on creative stuff during the day. I get to help my students. They're just making leaps and bounds with like the strategies that I teach them. When touring opens up again, I have a bunch of shows that are potentially booked for potentially this year. I'm going to travel around the world. It's awesome. I'm my own boss. It's badass. It's honestly badass. I wouldn't want to work for anybody or have like a 9-to-5 job or whatever. But because this is so like creative and it's so awesome, and I just love being able to know how to do everything that I need to be able to do. For example, like the video editing, for the marketing, the graphic design, all that kind of stuff. I know how to do that a little bit so that when I do hire people to do it, it's not going to be, they're not just going to like mess around with me and give me ridiculous prices or whatever. As long as you know how to do things, it makes it a lot easier to just make the decisions in the future. That being said, this is a really, really hard job to do by yourself. I know lots of people who are good when they go to the job. They're like, I have to go to my work. I have to be there by 8 or my boss is going to be mad. Or I need to get this much work done because this assignment's due. When you're a music producer by yourself, I have to be my own boss. I have to make sure that I get up at 7 o'clock or whenever I want to get up in the morning. I choose to get up at 7. But I am up every friggin' day at 7 a.m. and I work mostly till like 10 o'clock at night. I am always friggin' working, and dude, you need to be disciplined. And it's so easy for me to just go in this other room, take a nap or sleep for the whole day, or go downstairs and play with my lightsaber, or just like F off for the day. So easy to do that. But you got to be disciplined, and there's so many hours you need to put into this shit. And no one really told me that. And I even saw some people throughout the pandemic that were at home and they just didn't do anything. Like they're like, they had all this time to do stuff and just didn't do anything, because it's hard to do stuff and motivate yourself. And I've been a very driven person. So if you're a very driven person and you know that you can hammer down on yourself, consider this as a career for sure. Another reason why this is super awesome is because like the business that I'm building and the music career that I'm building will sustain me in the future, because I don't really believe in like the government giving you like retirement. You get a little bit, but it's not going to be an amazing life. So I'm focusing on building a solid business where I can hire employees that will, when I do retire in however many years, then I'll be able to manage them, and I'll be able to still make like money when I'm older. And that's my plan for the future. And you got to think about all this stuff, because again, there ain't no health benefits for being a music producer. There ain't no regular benefits. There isn't any like if I don't get jobs throughout the year, like no one cares about me. Poor me. So you got to be aware of that stuff too. And then also the time invested into all this stuff, I could be doing something else, and I could be working on like whatever other career. So there's always opportunity costs for everything that you do. And I'm choosing to do this because I see a future in it, and I'm looking towards all those like downfalls of not having healthcare or health benefits and all that kind of stuff. But I'm looking at it as a goal in the future to have my own business so I can just take care of all that stuff myself. Now, all that being said, I love being a music producer. Like, this is my favorite thing to do. I love making videos. I didn't like it in the beginning, but now I love making videos. I love making music. I love thinking creatively of how to promote myself and to just get my music in the hands or the ears of more people. But a couple things that I've learned, especially as being a music producer, is that success is earned and re-earned, and it is fleeting once you've achieved it. So like, I've had a few awesome hits that have gotten millions of streams, and that shock or that like success is over within a month. No one really cares after that. And even with the business, like, you have a little bit of success and you think you're on top of the world, and then that thing goes away really quickly. You always got to be working, and you always got to be grinding. And like I said before, it's so good by learning all these skills to be able to internalize them, be able to do them yourself, so that when you do hire somebody, you know they're not going to mess you around, and that you can like correct anything that that they do wrong, and just guide them in the right direction. So it's really about having full creative control over everything. Now, again, like I said, you can just go out and you can make music for fun, and it's an awesome experience, and play a couple of gigs and do it on a part-time, and that's awesome. But if you do want to be a full-time producer, I wanted to make this video so I could explain some of the behind the scenes of things that I do. Like, I have to have YouTube videos every week to promote my business and to help people out online. I have to work pretty much like every evening doing mentoring calls with students. I have to spend every morning working on music, and I have to take ridiculous IG pictures so that I can promote this stuff on IG. I have to do my taxes. All the taxes stuff is ridiculous. I have to do my taxes here right away, and I have to document everything so that everything is just appropriate for tax season. And then like other things, just like playing gigs, playing shows, buying all this equipment, all of it really, really adds up. I wouldn't change it for the world. There are days, I am not going to lie, that I do wish I had a 9-to-5 job, that I'm just like, oh man, like I could just go to work at 9 and end at 5 and then do whatever I want. Oh my God, that sounds amazing. And I do wish that sometimes, if I'm being really honest. But 90% of the time, I love what I'm doing. I love working super hard. I love being super passionate about things, and I wouldn't change it for anything. So I don't know, if that's something that interests you, if you want to become a full-time music producer, I hope this helped. Drop me a line if you do want to become a full-time music producer, and if you want help with your music, consider checking out our music mentoring program at FinishBetterMusic.com. There's a bunch of testimonials, there's a bunch of also free stuff, some PDF guides, some breakdown tutorials, and sample packs that are downloadable for free. Again, I'm Thomas Anthony. I'm here to help, baby. Okay, till next time. Peace.
Having somebody actually sit down with you and walk through each step of the music creation process was life changing.
And this was actually one of the best things that I spent my money on in my whole life. Like seriously, like it changed everything for me.
Like the quality of the songs that I've done in 8 weeks, I have 4 or 5 tracks that are like, the idea is good, different genres. Yeah, man, thank you, really.
I mean, I can safely say that since then, I've been making one of my favorite tracks, including the track that we worked on together. And I would definitely suggest Thomas to anyone who wants to advance their production skills.
I would recommend this program to anyone that is looking to further their knowledge in producing. You'll not only have a great mentor, but you'll have the skills and the tools necessary to create the best music that your mind can put down.
And that was one of the big things for me. It's like it was a kick in the ass without somebody actually kicking me in the ass.
Definitely the experience I got from you guys is just amazing. It's just, yeah.
That's basically it. I just wanted to say that investing in this mentorship program was probably one of the best things I ever did for music.
I felt so lost before, like starting a song, like it could just go any direction. I don't have like a pretty good sense of like what I want to do and like how to do it.